Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you are new here. So as you can see, I am starting this video with my makeup halfway done, and that is because I'm going to be trying on and reviewing this guy. So this is called the Patrick Starrr Visionary palette, and it is an eyeshadow palette. So his brand new brand is called One Size. I believe that his whole brand is a Sephora exclusive, so that's where you're gonna find everything with the One Size brand. And this eyeshadow palette goes for $55 Canadian. And I'm just gonna open it up to show you guys. It does come with a big mirror right here, like it's pretty big, like it's almost like the full size of the palette. And has this little clear strip just to protect the shadows, and also this has 9 mattes and 6 shimmer shades. So I'm not gonna lie, when I first seen this palette I thought that it was kind of boring, kind of like no shades really spoke to me that much except for a couple of the brown shades and maybe this green shade, and of course my eye has caught onto that like nice royal blue color. But aside from that, when I first seen this palette, nothing really jumped out at me, but I said, you know what, I'm gonna buy it and give it a go anyway. I'm gonna try it on for a video, so here we are. The one thing that I will say is I'm not kind of fond about the shape of this palette, so let me just close it and show you. So it looks like it's almost lopsided, like you can see the bottom part of the the packaging comes out. I was kind of like, oh my gosh, did I get like a crappy palette that was like cut wrong or manufactured wrong or something like that? I had to like almost Google it to make sure that it was supposed to be the shape in this way. Another thing I want to point out before I start into this palette is this shade right here, so this gold shade. The whole eyeshadow proportion was almost popped out of the pan. The shadow didn't press all the way in, so I literally had to go in with my finger and like press it back into the pan or it would have fell out. So I thought that was extremely weird. I have not had that happen before with any other palettes. I think we're just going to jump right in. I didn't want to do like my makeup and everything during this video because I just wanted to kind of focus solely on this, and you guys see me do my makeup in almost every video anyway. Okay, so looking at this color story, I have no idea what I want to do. I think I'm gonna stay clear of the blue for today, but you know what I was thinking? I'm kind of really attracted to these green colors, but as you can see, this bottom matte shade matches my clothing perfectly, and I don't know, that's kind of intriguing. I kind of really want to play with the green and maybe some browns, but if I matched my color of my dress, would that be too weird? I think I'm going to go for it. I think I'm going to kind of come up with a look using these green shades as well as some of the browns. So I'm going to look very earthy today, and I'm going to go in with this color. It's a matte shade. It's called Mango in the very corner. So I'm just going to dip into this with my Morphe E23 brush. So right off the bat, this palette is getting a little bit of kickback in the pan. Like it does have a lot of fallout that's coming out. So it does tend to get powdery very quickly. So there definitely is some pigment. Is it the most pigmented palette that I've ever used so far, even though I just did one shade? Definitely not, but it is definitely buildable. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do now is I am going to jump into that green, and it is called Matcha. Sometimes I'm scared of using these kind of greeny, like army green colors, because I'm scared that if I start blending like a bunch of colors together that it will look really muddy. So this shadow is a little bit more hard to blend. It definitely doesn't glide on like the other one, and this is also a matte shade. So as you can kind of see, like it's kind of sticking into my crease without really blending out. You kind of have to work a lot harder and a lot longer to get the same effect that you want. So I'm just going to go in with my Morphe Jaclyn Hill brush. This is the JH31. And I think I'm going to go into Soft Serve, which is that lighter brown right there. Like it definitely had more color payoff than that green one called Matcha. So I'm going to go back into Matcha again, but I'm going to use the same Jaclyn Hill brush, and I'm just going to pop into that and put some in my outer corner. So I'm going to go into Soft Serve again, and I think I'm going to mix it with Matcha on the same brush, and I'm just going to start smoking out my bottom lid. Okay, so It's kind of looking a little bit muddy and a little bit patchy. But I mean, we're gonna keep going just to see how everything blends out and layers in the end, so I'm still hopeful. I think now I'm gonna go in with this shimmery green shade called All of It. So I'm just going to go right in with my finger because that's how I like apply shimmer shades best, and I find that's how they definitely apply on the lid best. So I'm just gonna go in with this shade. Wow, okay, so that is so pigmented. I did not think it was gonna be that pigmented and that bright. That definitely packs a punch with color and pigment and intensity. So that is how that green shade is looking. It is very very green and very, very pigmented. Like, I actually really like the look of that green right now. Okay, so I think I'm going to go into this dark brown shade called Brownie right there. I'm going to switch up my brush, and now I'm going to be going in with a Sigma Small Tapered Blending E45 brush. It's just a little bit more cinched in on the top so I can really get my corners. And this is just going to help deepen everything just a little bit. So I guess I was literally speaking when I said I was going to look very earthy today. I'm also going to dip back into Brownie, and I'm going to add this to my lower lid. And I think I'm going to try and layer the shimmers just to see how they come out. So I'm going to go into this gold one here called Title Holder, and I'm going to go in with a different finger, and I'm just going to be applying this right in the center of my lid just to kind of see how it layers on top of that green shade. So it definitely brightened it up a little bit. It made it more of like a light green as opposed to like a green, if that makes any sense. More of like a yellowy tone green. Even though this is like so out of my normal style of color of eyeshadows, I kind of really like it. So I'm going to go in with that green shade again, All of It, and I'm just going to add a little bit on the bottom lid on the inner corner. Now I'm going to go into the black one called Turban Legend way up here in the corner, which is so cute because the little pan stamp is kind of like a little smiley face wearing the head turban, such as what Patrick Starrr always wears. So that's like a cute little personal touch. And I'm going to go in with a slant brush by Sigma, and I'm just going to dab into that black color, and I'm just going to line my lash line. I think for his collection he did also come out with like a liquid liner, but I kind of passed on that because I don't wear liquid liner a lot, and when I do, I kind of already found like my holy grail one that I trust and that works super well for me, and that is by the brand Quo. I'm just gonna add a little bit to the bottom. So this black shade was nice, but I definitely have used more pigmented and more like intense blacks, such as like the Tati Beauty palette. Oh my goodness, the black in that is like no other kind of black that you will ever use. It is so matte and intense and deeply black that like I don't think anything will ever top that. So even though it does have a black shade, which is what I typically look for in an eyeshadow palette, it doesn't have like a shimmery white or like a shimmery champagne-y color in which I would typically put on my inner corners and under my brow bone. So for that I am going to use highlighter. So I am going to be going in with my Amrezy highlighter. I'm just going to take that on my F03 Sigma highlighting brush. I'm going to swirl into this, and I'm just going to apply that on my cheeks, on my nose. I'm just going to be taking my Morphe Y22 brush. I'm going to be dabbing into this, and then I'm going to add some of that brightness on my inner corner as well as under my brow bone. So yeah, I think I'm definitely done with these shadows for this look. I can't seem to think of anything else that I would really try to pair with this look, but because I haven't tried on like a whole lot from this, I am going to swatch a couple of shades just to kind of see how they perform. So I think the first shade that I'm going to swatch is, I think I'm going to go into this like rose gold one called Everything, and I'm going to swatch this on my hand. So that swatched really well. It's like this beautiful rose gold color, and it's not really clumpy or anything. It just kind of went on almost like it looks like a wet metallic. So I actually really like that. That is so pretty. I'm going to go in with one more metallic. I'm going to swatch this Rebel Gray color down below the blue. I think this one's going to be really pretty. And I'm just going to swatch this right beside the rose gold. So that one is pretty, but it's definitely a little bit more chunky. It didn't have that like luminosity metallic look that the other one had, but it's still a pretty color, but that quality definitely came off a little more patchy than the rose gold one. And I think just for kicks, I am going to swatch a matte shade. So I think I'm going to swatch this blue one called Blue Mondu. So there's the blue one, and I'm just going to swatch this right here. It's definitely obviously a little bit more patchy than the metallic one because it's a matte, but that is a really pigmented blue. Okay, so now that some swatches are out of the way, I'm going to go and finish this look. For mascara, I'm going to go in with the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. This is one of my favorites, and it is so weird because when I first tried this a couple of years ago, I did not like it whatsoever. I have no idea what I didn't like about it. It did not give me the same effect as what it gives my lashes now, which is super weird because I still have the same like lashes a couple of years ago as I do now, but it's almost like my style was different and I was looking for a different kind of effect that mascaras would give me. So I am going to go in with lips, and I think for lips I am going to go into Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk. I think this is going to be like a nice neutral shade. Okay, so on to the palette and what I thought about it. So even though I didn't go in with a lot more colors in this palette to do this look, I did get a good feel of the formula because I did use a couple of different mattes and a couple of different shimmers. I will start off by saying that some of the mattes could be a little bit more pigmented. They did come off a little patchy when I was trying to blend them out with a brush, like especially that matcha shade right here. And I know that's not for every case of this color because I do have a similar color of this like army green color in another palette, and it blends out beautifully. So I know that it's not the color, but because of the formula being a little bit more patchy, I did have to go in and work a little harder at blending out that green color, which isn't the end of the world. Like, you can get it to where you want it, but I definitely would have liked the color to be a little bit more intense and a little bit more blendable. And I also went in with this Soft Serve shade here, which is also a matte, and that one blended out a little bit more than that green color, but it was still a little bit patchy. And then we have the couple of shimmers that I used. So for the main color, I did use that Olive It shade, and that one actually surprised me. Like, my reaction was kind of like, oh, I wasn't expecting this like smooth and this bright of a color payoff. So I will say that the shimmers in this palette are really good. And then I went into this one up here called Title Holder, which is that gold shade, and that one blended out perfectly and topped really well against that Olive It shade. And even when I went in and swatched like this one right here, that one swatched beautifully on my hand. It went on really smooth. But then again, when I went into this one over here called Rebel Gray, which I believe is a shimmer, like, it's really hard to tell, but I think that it is a shimmer, that one came out really crumbly and patchy. So I think it depends on the color and definitely how it's pressed and formulated within the pan. And I just want to mention this black up here. So this black up here definitely did not meet my expectations for a black matte shade. Like I said, the Tati palette one is absolutely amazing. Same with like the Urban Decay palettes. The black ones in those ones are phenomenal as well, and same as the Kat Von D Shade and Light eyeshadow palette. All of those have superb blendable, silky smooth, dark black matte shades, whereas this one almost came off as like a grayish tone matte. I know it's kind of hard to see in this palette, but it's definitely not like your really deep matte black. And I just find that even with that matte shade, when I tried to align my lash line with it, it definitely did not give me like a liner effect whatsoever to my standards. So I definitely do not like that matte shade at all, that black one. Okay, so overall, do I think that this palette is worth it? To be perfectly honest, for $55 Canadian, I don't think that this lives up to the expectations that I was kind of hoping for, especially where, you know, like, it's Patrick Starrr. He worked at MAC Cosmetics. He is like a super huge beauty influencer. Sorry if you don't like that word, but I just don't know what else to call them. Yeah, like, coming from him, I did expect something a little bit more, so to speak. Not gonna lie, but I am a little bit disappointed with the quality of this palette as well as the color story. So do I think this is worth the $55? No, I do not, and if I could travel back in time and know what I knew now, I definitely would have passed on this palette. But, you know, we live and learn. This is why I make YouTube videos, is to try things and review things so other people can learn from me what not to buy and what they want to buy. So yeah, even though, like I said, the shimmer shades were definitely of quality in this palette, it does not cancel out everything that I didn't like about this palette. So like the 1 or 2 things good definitely didn't cancel out the 3 or 4 things bad. But that is just my opinion on the Patrick Starrr palette. Okay, you guys, so that concludes this video for today. If you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and of course, if you want to see more by me, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and hopefully I will be seeing you guys in my next one. Bye!